Okay, so today is solving, and it could be solving either exponentials or logs, but it's solving. What do you mean by solve? Get the x alone. So in this case, you'd rewrite it, x to the 9th equals 3. Nothing new there. But solving it is more about, no, we're going to give you all these weird situations that have x's in weird places, and you have to figure out how to solve them. All right, so this one you'd put to the power of 1/9. Did you just put it to an even root? Because if you did, you'd need a plus and minus. Now we just put it to an odd root. The roots are on the bottom. That is a root. We just did a root on both sides, but we did an odd. That means like cube roots. You can have cube roots of negative. It's no big deal. So therefore, I can have the odd root and not have to do a plus minus. Answer is just 3 to the 1/9 power. Raise your hand if you had that one right. Okay, good. Let's do another one for the benefit of those at home. If I want to get these to be the same, to solve for x, you could do something really complicated with logs. You could do log base 4 of 2 to the 5th is equal to x plus 1. Okay, but that would not be very fun. Let me show you that. Log base 4 of 2 to the 5th is equal to x plus 1. And then that would depend on you being able to solve that. Difficult, but not impossible. All right. I'm actually going to show you that one because it's not impossible. Do you get that 2 to the 5th is really 32? Okay. Log base 4 of 32 is equal to x plus 1. Do you get that 32 could be written as a 4 to the something? That's the weird part. Because if I could write this so that 32 is like 4 to the something, then I'd have my answer would be the exponent. So, the 32, that is really 4 to the, what the heck, how do I do that? 4 to the something has to be 32. I'll give you a hint. It involves taking a square root. How about this? If I take that 4 and I do the square root to it first, now I've made it into a 2. Now won't it be easy to make into a 32? 3/2. You're warm. Let me show you. If I put in 3/2, you'll probably figure out what you did wrong. I got to do the square root of 4 and make it 2. And then you said 2 to the 3rd is equal to 32, and it's not. Close. Four to the what? It already is 3/2. Try again. 4 to the what? 5/2. There you go. Why? Because that part is the root. I get that the square root of 4 is 2, and then you put the 2 to the 5th, and that would be 32. All right, so bottom line, I have just rewritten this as 4 to the 5/2 power. Now, this part's 5/2 is equal to x plus 1. Now I just have to subtract 1 from both sides. Minus 1, except minusing 1 is harder than minusing 2/2. Because then I have to say denominator 5/2 minus 2/2 would be 3/2 is x. There we go. There's my answer. Now, I think there's a lot easier way. I just knew that somebody would be watching and be able to say, I could have. Yeah, you can. It's all that way. But here's what I think is a lot easier. Take this, make the bases the same. As soon as your bases are the same, your exponents will have to be. So this 4, couldn't I just erase this 4 and put in 2 squared? So that way I just did was really hard. This way is really easy. Now that has to equal that. So, do it. part where you break out of your coma. Did you say 2x plus 2 equals 5? It's so often people forget to distribute the 2 to both parts. Don't make that mistake. Okay, how do I solve from there? The back row, Mr. W. Solving a minor equation should be no big deal. Oh, thank you. You started with wow. Okay. Okay. All right. Buy a little time. Yeah, I understand. All right. Divide by 2. You are correct. There's your answer. 3/2. Okay. So there's the kind where you have to make the bases the same. We've done a bunch of practice on that. I think it's time to actually just jump in the worksheet and start it together. It's the 13th worksheet. 13 is a very lucky number. You guys know why it became such an unlucky number? One of the main reasons was on Friday the 13th. What happened? Somebody died. Well, a lot of people died, actually. It was the Knights Templar. The king who was in charge got a little annoyed that they were getting too powerful and a little scared that they were going to try to take over his kingdom. And so his knights, all of a sudden, found themselves on the same exact day. He coordinated. Very smart. Otherwise, they would have spread the word. When a knight gets taken out, they hear the word, and they're like, oh, my gosh, I better watch out. Watch my back, because somebody's taking out the knights. They took them all out on the same day, on Friday the 13th. He sent his guys in to take out every one of the Knights Templar. Had it all set up because it was a big country. He had it all set up ahead of time. That on that Friday the 13th, he executed every one of them. So, and the Knights Templar were good guys, most of them. It was just more and more of a political thing. So, pretty evil to do that. And that made Friday the 13th into a pretty scary time. I'm going to pause for a second while I find this. We're done. All right, so we are now going through some of the worksheet with everybody. I would say these first, 6, 8, 10, the first 10 are all pretty easy, and it's easy for me to say that, but I'm thinking you will feel the same way. Let's just pick one that's on the harder side, like number 8. Number 8 doesn't have a nice base jumping right out at me. 5 on the left side is good, but can I make that right side into a 5? Ah, I can. So then it's 5 to the x is equal to 5, and that's the only hard part. 5 to the what would give me 125? Negative is correct. Negative 3. There we go. The negative makes it flip 1 over, and the 5 to the third makes the 125. Good. So then the answer is just x equals negative 3. Piece of cake. All right, this one, some people are like, there's no exponent. Just put a 1 on there. Now the bases are the same, and the answer becomes obvious. All right, hope the first half of the worksheet is easy. Moving on to the next part. 11, 12, 13, etc. Let's look at number 12. The people that freak out on that one are just not thinking about how to write this as an e to a power, and it's 1 over, so that means e to the negative something. If you can rewrite this as e to the negative something, is that a square root that they're using there? Ah, so what's that? What fraction power would that be? Okay, so are you saying it's e to the 1/2? Are you saying it's e to the negative? Is it negative 5/2? Why is it negative 5/2? It's negative because of the 1 over. Let me get that flip thing going on. That's a negative. The root is that root sign right there. That's a square root. Roots go on the bottom, just like in plants. And then that's a normal power, e to the 5th. The normal power goes there. The root power goes on the bottom. And if there's a negative power, that means that it was flipped, as in reciprocal 1 over. Okay. Now we get into a few logs at the end here. And that's the main thing that they do tomorrow, is they do a lot more with logs. But let's do some with logs here. Let's look at number 15. Stop. Good. Wait a minute. I'm just quoting lyrics from a song. So. All right. Believe it or not, all you have to do, okay, now I'm changing the lyrics to the song a little bit, is rewrite this as an exponential, and it'll be. Tell me how to do it. Green. How would you just go like that? 10 to the squared, as you said. Is equal to x. That's correct. Is x alone? It's alone to me. So as long as you can simplify your answer a little bit, you'll have it. All right, this one. Wait a minute. It has no base. What does it? What's the base? Base 10. That's called common log. So then it's just 10 to the negative 1. These are easy. So 10 to the negative 1 equals x. Can you do that? X is already alone, right? What does negative 1 mean when you do that? What's the negative 1 mean? Flip it. So what's the answer? 1 over 10. All right. This one brings up one of my favorite sayings. Get the clump alone. I still need one of those for my shelf over there. Get the clump alone. This is the clump, and we need to get it alone. So I need to get that 2 off of there. So what do? Divide by 2. Divide by 2. Now I can rewrite. And what's 250 divided by 2, by the way? 125. Ooh, that's a nice number, because then it can be 5 to the something. I would probably not do a rewrite. I would say it's 5 to the third. And then you'll have 5 to the x over 4 and 5 to the third. And once the base is the same, easy. All right. This one's another get the clump alone. Don't forget to start by dividing by 32 on both sides. Now, let me warn you that you're at a very dangerous time of the year. I get getting close to the end of the school year. You're starting to feel it. You know that finals are coming. We start talking about finals, but are on the way and everything. But and I know you're busy. I know there's lots of things going on. Prom going on. There's going to be AP testing and IB testing going on, and oh my gosh, there's a lot to do. But you're still in a hard math class. Relatively easy day, and I'm still collecting homework. So you've got to get your homework done for the next few days. If you stay with me, the end of this should end nicely. You could get one more good grade in the grade book, and then the final happens. That won't be very fun for anyone. This is the part where you raise your grade. You build in lots of padding for your grade. That way, when you have the final and you had an A minus going, it'll knock you down to a B plus, and you'll be a little sad because at the same time, if you hadn't raised your grade up to the A minus, you start off with a B minus, and then you go into the final, now you're in trouble because it's going to knock your grade down further, and etc. So, the final almost never raises anybody's grade. In any class I've ever taught, it's really rare to have a final at that. One good piece of news for you is the final is graded Marzano style, meaning 75% in this section, 75% in that section, and you've got an A. Bet you can't name too many finals where if you get 75%, you get an A. Okay? Yes. Not too many does that, right? Okay. So anyway, I know that also means there's hard questions on there that you probably won't be able to answer. That's okay. You can still get 75% on this, 75% on that part, and still get it. It's not impossible, but there's going to be a whole lot more B's than A's. And for a lot of you, that lowers your GPA because you hoping for A's. So if you want to work at it, you can do it, but it's tricky. And that means it's hard. At least harder than this stuff. Okay, enough about that talk. Your homework is this worksheet. I feel like it's a bit long, so you may cut off the last six questions on it. You may skip the last 6 problems. If you feel like you need to do them for practice, you should do them, but it's optional. Okay? Is it for the video or? All right. I had somebody before I stopped the video here ask about ln. Can you just try to pull up through memory banks? What does ln mean? Log base e. So then can you tell me what to write for number 16? No. Just tell me how to rewrite this. No, log base e of x equals 0. Okay, now, all I did is replace ln with log base. Now, can you rewrite it as an exponential? Come on, just did this 2 seconds ago. That to the that equals that. Remember that whole thing? Okay, so what is it? You gonna work with me on this? Because I can't do it by myself. I'm not gonna do it by myself. E to the, you think you can take it from there. Everything to the 0 power. Okay, so what's the moral of the story? When you see something that doesn't have a base, like this kind doesn't have a base, rewrite it so it has a base. Once it has a base, you can do a rewrite, put it into exponential form. The other kind is this kind that doesn't have a base, so I rewrite it so it has a base. Put a little base 10 in there. Then you can rewrite it. The 10 to the equals, you can do it from there. All right, you'll have, trying to get x alone, that's the whole point for today. All right, that's all I have for you for the video for today.